Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Jasleen Kaur, and I'm a transcreator on the Guru Granth Sahib Project. We're excited to announce the release this month of Guru Teghbahadar Sahib's compositions under Rags Jaijavanti and Basant. So I'm going to tell you a bit about the rags themselves and then a bit about what stuck out to me as I've worked on them the last couple of months. Rag Jaijavanti is a musical mode that's often used to express two opposite feelings that are usually kind of extreme. And those feelings often encompass the positive feeling of kind of accomplishment or victory, and then the negative feeling of having lost something. And so within these compositions, Guru Teghbahadar is exploring the contrast between the feeling of connection with Ram, the beautiful, or IkOankar, and a lack of connection. And so there's two things that have stuck out to me about this series of compositions under Jaijavanti. And so the first is the repetition within the Rahal lines of the first two compositions. So in the first composition, Guru Teghbahadar Sahib says, remember the beautiful, this is the only deed of use. And in the second composition, Guru Teghbahadar Sahib says, sing praises of the beautiful, life is passing away. And so I think that repetition has stuck out to me so much because it's an easy thing to remember and to kind of take away from this series of compositions to remind myself of throughout the day. And also because throughout the composition, you feel maybe a little bit of the urgency and intensity and maybe bluntness that the Guru is bringing forward, for example, in composition 2, when we are addressed as, "O foolish one." And it's because there is this thing that we are being asked to remember and understand that is still not it's not hitting us quite yet. And so that urgency paired with the kind of lulling repetition of these two lines, I think that's really interesting to me. And then finally, in the third composition, a huge thing that has stuck out, especially given the intensity of the compositions that come before it, is the invocation of a divine name, a name of IkOankar, that to me is really hopeful, which is the invocation of the name Murari. And so we're asked to seek the sanctuary, to attach ourselves to Murari. And Murari in Indic mythology is the one who kills the demon Mur. But in the Guru Granth Sahib and in reference to IkOankar, Murari is invoked to talk about IkOankar as the enemy of ego, or the enemy of, in this case, Maya. So Maya is a material attachment or attachment to our relationships. And the kind of theme throughout has been that we are entangled in Maya, and that Maya controls us, and that it has caused us to be forgetful, and that in a way we are actually serving Maya instead of serving IkOankar. We are attached to Maya instead of attaching ourselves to IkOankar. And so in the end, this hopefulness comes of, okay, if you think you are losing out in this battle against this thing that feels pretty omnipotent, this thing that feels really powerful, why don't you attach yourself to the one being who can defeat it, the one being who Maya serves, and that is IkOankar, or in this case, the divine name Murari in reference to IkOankar. So there is hope in that, and kind of also a nod to the sort of world play that is happening, where we're kind of battling it out with this thing, and it's all part of the larger play where Maya is actually losing out to IkOankar at every moment. And then in the compositions under Basant, there's 5 of them, and Basant is a musical mode that is often used to invoke festivity and a season of newness and change and kind of preparation for blooming. It's associated with the springtime. So there's this excited anticipation that comes with this mood. And the thing that stuck out to me about this series of compositions is actually the second composition in its entirety, because it speaks about a thing that I think we don't speak about, which is lust. So Guru Teghbahadar says, lust dwells in my vice-filled heart. Under the influence of this sensual desire, the mind is not under control. So the Guru is using this first person voice to identify with this collective struggle that humans all have with this thing, with lust. And there's this cause and effect that is very clearly laid out, that lust is the thing that causes us to sin or transgress, that sin is not this thing that comes from some kind of past karma or the devil, depending on whatever classically religious context you're coming from. It is not something that is outside of our control. Sin is very clearly associated with the root cause of lust, which causes us to kind of exist in a frenzy and in unsteadiness. And then the Guru also emphasizes that everyone is bound up by this lust, even the yogis and the ascetics and whatever holy people have claimed to have defeated it. The Guru is saying all of us are struggling with it, no matter what. And so we see lust in kind of all of its hues. It's not just sexual, it's also about kind of entertaining it at every level and thinking about it and working towards it and recalling it and vocalizing it. Like, it's all these different things that kind of add to each other and snowball. And so then this encompassing nature of this universal struggle we all have is really emphasized. And I see a lot of compassion and understanding in that. And then finally, just like in Jaijavanti, we're not left kind of hanging with no hope. So the Guru says, okay, who has won this battle with lust? And it is those who have the identification or the nam of Hari, of the one light within them. It's the ones who Hari dwells within, who are able to capture and savor that identification and make it across this kind of world ocean, which is to say, who are able to make their lives fruitful instead of being driven by this frenzied force. And so the antidote is Nam. We're given that answer, that this is the antidote to our struggle with lust. And then finally, at the end of the composition, the Guru takes it a step further and says, okay, this is the antidote, but then how do you get it? How do you ask for it? And in the same first person voice, the Guru shows us how to ask for that bestowal of Nam so that we can make our lives fruitful. So just as we all struggle with the condition of lust, so too do we all have access to this refuge if we're looking for it, if we want it. And so, yeah, I just really think that there is a lot of care and compassion and candor in this composition, and a lot of understanding of an experience that we often don't vocalize because we are so used to being shamed or ashamed of it, and so used to being taught that it is a thing to fear. And so that shame-based or fear-based outlook that causes us to hide maybe our struggles with lust or hide any kind of attempt to acknowledge it is being turned on its head. And the Guru is saying, I understand this condition and we're all going through it as human beings. And so here's how we get out of it. I really encourage you to take time to explore them in their entirety. Maybe explore the word meaning section, see what phrases are sticking with you this time around, and really, take your time with it. I hope that you find there are things that you can take with you as you walk your individual path on your individual journey. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.